Ready to level up your AI art game? Today we're diving into the image remix and design bot. This workflow is a beast at sourcing high-quality ideas. It starts by heading over to PromptHero, but first, make sure you've set up your credentials in the connection node. The bot then scans the top-rated gallery, using a list loop to grab every stunning visual. For each one, it hijacks the image URL, the exact prompt, and the specific model, like Midjourney or SDXL, so you can remix them into something entirely new. Now, let's take a look at the Run tab. As you can see, the agent is performing the task perfectly, navigating the gallery and pulling the data exactly as we requested. Now, let's get into the more complex part, the n8n workflow. I've added notes throughout the canvas, but it's best to follow the video closely so you don't get lost. The workflow begins with a Telegram trigger, handling both text and callback queries. If the data is a callback, it follows the top path, otherwise, it takes the bottom path. Crucially, we use a Google Sheet to manage user state. You'll need to define this sheet exactly as shown in the video. By checking the state, the bot knows if the user is a new visitor, if the state is dodge. PromptHero state means want to explore PromptHero images, and user image state means ready to remix their own user-provided image. If the user is new, we still navigate two primary paths, the top path for text and the bottom path for images inputs. When the input is text and the state is set to dodge, we use an AI agent to validate the input. If it's regular conversation, the bots send it to bottom path and the chatting agent accordingly. However, if the user provides a design request for image generation, the system clears the database and launches a new BrowserAct workflow. Here's a look at our Google Sheets memory bank. We're logging every single detail from PromptHero so we can pull it back up whenever we need it. Once the images are extracted, we split each item and save them into the Google Sheet, then alert the user that the system is ready for the next step. When a user interacts with an inline button, it triggers a callback query, which the workflow routes through the top path. As we follow the top path, the answer becomes the most important element. We have several queries set up for different answers, depending on which button the user clicked. Oops, that was the wrong line. Yeah, it's definitely easy to get lost in a workflow this complex. As I demonstrated, the user's responses in this section typically contain either a 0 or a no. Consequently, we only utilize the third and fourth paths of our switch node. If the user sends no, we simply revert their state to dodge to reset the interaction. However, if they send 0, the bot interprets this as a request to start with our stored database data. In this logic, 0 represents the first index 0 plus 1. Allowing the system to pull the very first image and prompt we extracted via BrowserAct to begin the remix process. After displaying the result, we send another message to the user to see if they like the current data or want to see the next option. If they choose to stay, we simply send a regenerate query. Otherwise, we send the next index, meaning we simply add 1 to the current index and send it back. We are also saving the current shown images in a dedicated log. This allows us to track exactly which data has been sent to the user and when. To ensure this works perfectly, make sure you define all the columns and sheet names exactly as I show in the video. For the second time, I am highlighting the part where we add 1 to the current index. This step is vital for the gallery's navigation. This forces the workflow to shift its focus to the next item in our Google Sheets database. Nothing explains it better than a live example, so let's look at our bot in action. If I click the No button, the workflow adds 1 to the current index and immediately provides the next image and prompt from our list. However, if we click the Regenerate button, we are navigated to a completely different path. I will explain that specific logic right now. If the user selects Regenerate, the query switch navigates us to the first path. In this section, we instruct the user to send the specific changes they'd like to apply to the image. Simultaneously, we update the user state to PromptHero in our database. This ensures that the next time the user sends a text message, the workflow recognizes their state and knows to combine their new instructions with the original PromptHero data. Now that the state is set to hero prompt, the user's text is passed to the specialized section of the workflow. We start by retrieving the database data from Google Sheets and sending the images to an AI for deep analysis to generate a detailed description. Then, we pass that data to another AI, which crafts the perfect prompt for Nano Banana. Once the new design is generated, we send the result back to the user and immediately reset their state to Dodge, to prepare for a fresh start. Nothing beats a live example to show how this works. I selected the image of the witch and simply asked for a similar image, but with green hair. Notice that I didn't mention the witch or any other details from the original photo. The AI analyzed the image itself to understand the context. As you can see, it successfully generated the remix for me, creating a completely unique, copyright-free image based on my simple request. Now, let's move faster. What if a user sends their own image? This time, we will be redirected to the bottom path. The workflow immediately captures that image. We get image data from Telegram trigger node. Then it clears the current database. You can see the database structure here, so ensure your Google Sheet matches mine exactly. We download the image, pass it to an AI for analysis, and save the resulting description. We then notify the user to ask if they want to proceed. If they choose to continue, the workflow navigates to the second option, alerts the user that we are ready for their instructions, and sets the state to user image. When the user sends their text, the user image agent takes over, combining the new instructions with the description from our database to generate and send back the final remix. To wrap things up, let's look at a final example. I simply copied and resent an image that the AI had previously generated for me. Then, I asked the bot to redesign it in watercolor. That was my only instruction. I didn't need to describe the original subject or the layout. The AI understood the context and performed the redesign perfectly. It really is that simple. Thank you so much for watching.